in Circle of Death.
Yo, every Wednesday night, you better tune in tight. At 7 p.m. CST, we bring in that insight. Halas Hall Report, best podcast in the game. Stats and facts, you'll remember the name. Host Ken Dub got the knowledge on lock. Co-host Woody the Bear fan, talking all that talk. 3 Bear fans chilling, opinions on the side. We're here for the love, riding that Bear pride. Halas Hall, we break it down right. Join us on the journey from day to night. Blue and orange army taking over the scene. 2025's the year, know what we mean. Bear fans unite, it's our time to rise. Sunday mornings, pre-game vibes in the skies. Lions think they're fierce with Dan Campbell's call, but all that greed ain't gonna help them at all. Same old story, we know how it goes. They just can't compete, everybody knows. Minnesota Vikings always talking smack, but when it's game day, they ain't got the knack. Sitting on the couch while we're making a stand. Over here in Chi-Town, we're the best in the land. Halas Hall, we break it down right. Join us on the journey from day to night. Blue and orange army taking over the scene. 2025's the year, know what we mean. Bear fans unite, it's our time to rise. Sunday mornings, pre-game vibes in the skies. Packer fans yell blow pack blow, but can't see the truth. We're stealing the show. Rivalry heated, but we stay real cool. Halas Hall Report, yeah, that's the rule. With every episode, we build that hype. Stats and team news, we got the right type. Fan base strong, we ain't looking back. 2025, it's a winning attack. So gather round fans, put your hands in the air. Every Wednesday night, we're breathing that bear. Join the revolution, watch the magic unfold. Halas Hall Report, we're breaking the mold. Halas Hall, we break it down right. Join us on the journey from day to night. Blue and orange army taking over the scene. 2025's the year, know what we mean. Bear fans unite, it's our time to rise. Sunday mornings, pre-game vibes in the sky. So mark your calendars, don't miss a beat. Every Wednesday night, Halas Hall can't be beat. Stats, facts, team news on deck. Halas Hall Report, what did you expect? 2025, the Bears are here to stay. Blue and orange in the north, leading the way.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of Halas Hall Report. It's the Sunday morning, normally pregame edition, but there are no games yet. We're only, 14 weeks away, Woody, Broski?
Yeah, I'm not good at math, but fuck yeah.
It'll be here before we know it.
Yeah.
And it looks like we got some people wanting to come on this morning. I'm not sure. Okay, I know Eagles Rock. I think we've had him before. He's an Eagles fan.
Oh, another Sheagles fan. Jesus.
Tina Tillman, sparring partner. I don't know why people are showing up this morning, but hey, good morning. Why not? We'll see how this goes.
How you doing?
Loving people to show up, but we don't know.
What's going on, Rock?
I'm good. I wanted to come in and see how everything's going on here in the Halas Hall. You know, I've heard about you guys, so I wanted to talk about some football with you, see how you are.
There we go. It's Eagle. It's early.
Just call me Rock. It's cool.
All right. It's one of those things. OTAs. We just had OTA this week, and of course, as predicted, the headlines were as follow. Headline 1: Caleb struggles with Ben Johnson's new offense. Headline 2: Caleb shines in Ben's new offense. Go figure. It's that time of year. OTAs are happening. It's really hard to judge anything because when you read the media reports, half of them are there. Oh my God, the sky is falling. The other half is, oh my God, just anoint the Super Bowl champs right now.
Well, you know what? You know the way I look at OTAs? It's like summer camp, man. I don't put no stock into that bullshit. I really don't. I mean, because they ain't even in fucking pads yet. They're in shorts.
Yeah,
give me a fucking break, really.
That's the same way we've been looking at, Woody. I mean, what's your takeaway from what I know? You said you saw something that you found was interesting.
Yeah, I just heard, during the week that Caleb Williams is studying Matt Stafford's films. I think they're totally two different players. The only thing I think similar that might be pocket passers. Stafford is not too mobile. Caleb, you could show a little bit of mobility last year, his first year. So it'd be pretty interesting if it's true and how it works out for him.
Yeah, Broski, I mean, I think that's kind of smart play actually is look at film of other quarterbacks who have succeeded in the league for a decade plus. That might be a good training aid.
Yeah, I mean Stafford's a heck of a quarterback, and even though he's older, he still is. I mean, I consider the Rams a legit Super Bowl contender this year.
Definitely.
I mean, I could think of a lot worse guys to kind of study than Matt Stafford, honestly. So, I mean,
they were the closest team in the playoffs to beating us last year. I could say that the Rams were. They were the very closest team to beating us. So I'm worried about the Rams outside of my division. Yes, more than anybody.
I think the common thing that like Stafford and Caleb have, like Stafford's obviously a pocket passer. Caleb's obviously he likes to, break the pocket and create plays on the run and stuff, but they both have live arms. So I actually like the fact that Caleb's studying like a pocket passing quarterback as opposed to like Lamar Jackson or something like that. You know what I mean? Learn how to play quarterback from a real quarterback, I guess is my point.
I mean, OTAs, this is hard, right? Because the way the NFL is designed, I guess, we'll look at schedule-wise. We get all the hype coming into the draft. We have free agency. That's the first piece of the hype train, right? Oh, we get excited. Look at all the people we're signing and maybe some trades. And then comes the draft. Everyone's super hyped, a bevy of tons of activity. And then it's this. I mean, really between now and camp, okay, today being June 1st, maybe we'll see some June 1st cuts. Last year we thought we'd see some, but really nothing. I don't think anything's really come across the wire yet. This year looked like there could be some June 1st cuts, but last year this was a non-exciting time. And so what do we get? We get OTAs and we get beat writers and clickbait writers. And I get it. They got to have copy. They got to put an article out for their paper, their website or whatever to keep their jobs. But it's the same crap every year. And I love when they do $42 million receiver drops lots of passes at camp. Just give me the player's name in your clickbait article. You know what I mean? This is what we see. It's that time of year. And then we'll get to camp, right? And then it's like, hey, it's camp. Same crap, right? I mean, we don't see anything in camp. You don't see the starters in preseason. We get excited about rookies and third and fourth and fifth string guys who we hope will make the team, but really it doesn't tell us anything about our team. And then finally we get week one and it's like, yeah, week one is here. And it's like, man, this is some ugly football. Is that about sum it up, guys? Is that what the phase we're in right now?
I mean, you're not kidding. Like it's been really noticeable the last, I would say, like 3 or 4 seasons how teams really aren't even close to being up to speed for like honestly like almost the first 4 weeks.
I was getting ready to say the first month.
Yeah. So I mean, I totally see that.
Well, I wanted to say, welcome on the show, guys. Peanut Tillman, I never seen you on here. Who are you?
I have a different moniker every time I come on just to be faithful. My name's Colin, and I'm a Vikings fan. So, yeah.
Yeah, and guess what I'm reading right now? So I just did a search for Chicago Bears news before the show starts. There's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 articles out about DJ Moore being traded for Tyreek Hill. It's that time of season. It's that time of year.
Wow.
Like you're just gonna have rumors going fucking off the hinges.
I saw the one where Ben Johnson laid down the law to DJ Moore. I'm like, I didn't realize DJ Moore was an issue. That he needed the law laid down by Ben Johnson. It's like, really? It's like, oh, I love this clickbait.
Now, in response to Woody's comment about learning from Matt Stafford, I think that is a good comparison. I think part of what I think is going to help Caleb kind of progress as a quarterback is finding his way in the pocket, not so much getting out of the pocket. I think if he can get his confidence together in the pocket, he's going to be a more successful quarterback. And I think the same as a Vikings fan, the same things goes for JJ McCarthy too. I think establishing himself as a guy who's proficient at completing passes, you don't have to go for the home run ball all the time. If you have confidence enough to be able to throw the short passes to tight ends, running backs, and shorter routes to wide receivers and just develop that confidence, that's what's going to lead over into you being successful as a down the field passer.
Well, the other thing is that Matt Stafford had some pretty good offensive lines. So It all
Well, he had
depends
some
on
pretty
our
bad
offensive
ones
line.
with Detroit, though. He got killed his first 5-6 years of his career. He got murdered. So he had to learn how to be good in the pocket because he didn't have anybody protecting him early in his career with Detroit. So
And
When it comes to JJ McCarthy, really, he's gotta watch Kyle Orton. Like legit, right now, watch Kyle Orton because that's all they need you to do there. Be Kyle Orton, game manage, put the ball where it's supposed to be. You know, if it's not there, throw it away. Be Kyle Orton.
I would watch early Tom Brady too, and I'm not comparing Tom Brady and JJ McCarthy. I'm saying watch early Tom Brady when he had like Kevin Falk and Jermaine Wiggins and Deion Branch and all these older receivers. Like find the guys who can catch the ball, and then you get your confidence up.
well, Colin, doesn't JJ? Correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't all JJ McCarthy has to do is look what Sam Darnold did last year.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Well, exception to the last 2 games, but yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And speaking of clickbait, thank you, Bill. Bill does it all the time. Love it. He always does his little trash talking clickbait. He may say Kyle Orton sucks, but Kyle Orton had a very long career being a game manager. Won 10 games as a rookie, being a game manager. That's what JJ needs to be right now, right? Just be a game manager. Like, be Kyle Orton, be neckbeard. Don't be flashy. You don't have to be flashy with all the weapons that you've got in Minnesota. And conversely, going to Caleb could do some of that too, because look with all the weapons that he has around him, 2 really good tight ends, 3 really good receivers, a good running back room. He doesn't have to be Superman. Like he has enough talent around him. Game manage some. On some level, look at game managers win Super Bowls. Look at Hurts last year. How many yards did he have in the Super Bowl? Like 150? Like he wasn't trying to be Superman. He let his team work with him, and he just managed a beautiful game. He didn't have to go out there and be Superman and put the Super Bowl team on his back. They did it as a team. That's what these guys need to do on some level, is do that, game manage. Being a game manager is not terrible.
Well, I think part of it too is Caleb was the number 1 overall pick. He was a hyped up recruit in college, hyped up college quarterback, won the Heisman. I think you need to have a little bit of humility and humbleness to when you get to the NFL to be able to truly being a leader and taking time to perfect your craft on a professional level.
You gotta love Bill in the morning.
I can't wait to meet him. I can't wait to meet Bill. I'm going to give him a big hug and fucking kiss at that game.
I watched the local news out of Chicago, and I'm not seeing this on the local news in Chicago. So 670 the score. They love their because they were looking about stuff to talk about. Let's talk about how Caleb wanted to be a Viking. Like, okay, so even if let's say, you know what though, like I'll say this, let's say all that was true, right? You know what my response to that would be? And it didn't change how he played in Chicago last year. It's not going to change what he's going to do this year. So, that's where we're at in the season.
I feel like now OTAs are a tryout for the Olympics.
Yep.
You gotta hone your skills at flag football for the Olympics. That's your tryout. Yeah.
That is the most ridiculous bullshit I've ever heard of.
It's like the Pro Bowl. Get fucking rid of it. But and I heard it on the show before. If United States doesn't win this flag football in the Olympics, something's wrong.
Woody, here's the thing: the USA flag football team has already won the world championship, whatever the tournament they're doing. They're the 5-time reigning champs. We don't even need the NFL players. But look, we talked about this on the morning show. It's more part of the NFL's bigger goal of growing the game, globally, right? So but OTAs in camp, like I wish we would get. I understand why we don't get more. Teams don't want to show too much. They don't want to put too much out there for other teams to look at and try to dissect the new offense, try to dissect the new defense before the season starts. But as fans, it's frustrating because this is the crap we see, and everyone's trying to get excited for football. Yeah, there's football, but it's like, there's nothing there. It's just like going to watch the new Marvel movie, and you get there and realize it's a Peanuts animated short instead.
Well, I mean, I like Peanuts animated shorts. Thank you.
So do I, but not as much as I'd like maybe a big flashy Marvel movie.
Hey, Colin, I want to ask you, since you're a Vikings fan, how do you feel about playing 2 weeks in a row in two different countries this year? Do you think that have any effect, even though you guys have the bye week the next week?
I actually kind of like it because it avoids us. Both of them are road games, so we're not losing a home game, and we're playing Cleveland and Pittsburgh, so we don't have to play Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. Not that Pittsburgh is like an insurmountable team, but I think the element of having two teams that aren't on their home field it definitely levels the playing field for the Vikings in two of those games. So I'm not completely against it. I don't know necessarily what direction the NFL is heading with having all of these games overseas, if they're trying to get a new team or like a series of teams in like Germany and England and Ireland. I don't know if that's like their intention with it, but I mean, I don't mind it. I really don't. We've had pretty good success overseas, so I'm okay with it.
Broski and I have had this conversation on Ken and Ken in the morning about the overseas game. I mean, they're growing it. They're because look, it's an untapped market, right? They're growing it. And I said the thing about the Vikings being the first team ever to play two games in two different countries outside the U.S. in a season, it's not like they're playing that far apart, right? Dublin to London's like an hour flight. I'm sure that the Vikings are going to pick a place and call it home for 2 weeks, right? I mean, you're just going to pick a place, call it home for 2 weeks, and do all your training out of there and just, travel to Cork and then travel to London. So it's not like it's a huge transportation issue for them. It's not like they're going in Ireland 1 week and the following week they're going to Australia. Right.
Well, it's going from Orlando. I mean, it's like literally going from Minnesota to Green Bay. That's how far Cork and the English game are. It's not that far away. Yeah, and the Vikings have experience playing over there. They played in Germany, I want to say, against New Orleans. I want to say they played in London last year against the Jets. Yeah. So I mean, they have experience there.
And for the second game, you've already been acclimated. You've been there for 2 weeks. The team you'll be playing has been there for one. So you'll be better acclimated for the second game than the first game. And then you come home and then you get a bye. So, I mean, I don't think the NFL did you dirty. But
I never said they did. No,
yeah, I never said they did. Some people are, not you, but some people, not even Vikings fans, just NFL people are, that's dirty what they did to the Vikings. I'm like, it's really not that bad.
Well, they're road games. Both of them are road games. We didn't lose a home game. Like, they're both on the road games, and I'm okay with it. I don't know why people would be really that upset. You're not losing exposure in the home market to the team, so I'm okay with it.
And you're getting more international market, just more money.
Yeah, I was going to say Pittsburgh's probably going to be starting a rookie quarterback, and there's a chance Cleveland will as well. So,
well, who does Pittsburgh have? Is it the
Rudolph?
Will Howard from Ohio State.
Yeah, I don't know what direction Pittsburgh and San Francisco, I feel like, are two teams that are kind of have similar kind of downward trajectory about where they're going. I think San Francisco having Purdy, like, they might have a set quarterback situation, but some of the moves they've made, I mean, re-signing Kittle to that big extension. Ayuk last year, I was never on board with them signing him. And that, I mean, you got so much money tied up in McCaffrey, Kittle, Ayuk, and Purdy. Like, yeah, I mean, you had to lose Greenlaw, you had to lose Palomalu, you had to lose Travarius Ward. Like, they're losing pick, and the offensive line isn't getting any younger. So San Francisco's on the downward swing, and Pittsburgh is so confusing. Like, I just don't understand why they don't move on from Tomlin. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, I've made the comment on the morning show. I think he's on the hot seat. I mean, they haven't won a playoff game in 9 years. Right, last year, the second after they lose the playoff game, ownership comes out within an hour. We're not going to fire him. to me, why do you make that comment so fast unless people have been asking for it? We saw it in the stands. And I think, though, this year, he's on the hot seat. If they don't win a playoff game this year, I don't care how many years in a row he's taken to the playoffs and you've had a winning season. If you're not doing anything besides just showing up to the playoffs and going home every year, eventually you're going to get fired.
He's Marvin Lewis for the Super Bowl. That's what he is. He's Marvin Lewis for the Super Bowl.
And so, outside the division, we see those kinds of storylines. And actually, this division, our division, is an interesting division. I think Rich Eisen just called this the hardest division in football, which is, well, thank you, Rich Eisen, for doing that, because usually the NFC North gets zero love from anyone in the national media, right? But I look at our teams, I look at the Bears specifically, and it's like, okay, I'd like to believe that as a Bears fan that, we're really good this year with the weapons we have. But my problem is I don't know what this O-line is going to do this year. Yeah, we spent the money, right? We went out and got the guys. We made the draft picks. We strengthened the trenches on both sides, which is something we all said we needed to do coming into the draft and free agency. I'm wondering where the Bears are going to sit this year, and then more importantly, where the North is going to fit. Because look at Minnesota, great defense, got a good team up there, but rookie quarterback. You look at Detroit, kind of choked pretty massively last year and lost all of their, a lot of their coaches, not all, but a lot. The important ones, they seem to have lost. And you look at Green Bay, and Green Bay is the most stable of our group, but yet Jordan Love really wasn't all that great last year. Was he good? Sure, he's a good quarterback, but he wasn't $55 million a year good. So where do we sit? Where do the Bears sit in this? And how much faith should Bears fans put into this offensive line and this offense in year one of Ben Johnson?
Well, to start with, they're going to be most likely starting a rookie left tackle. So that's the first thing. The second thing to consider is, they signed Dahlman at center. They signed Jonah Jackson at guard, but both of these guys have a pretty big injury history. So, that's another thing to consider. So like how this O-line plays, and actually how the D-line plays. It's all about the trenches to me for the Bears. Like, yes, Caleb needs to take a step forward. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that too. Don't get me wrong, but I just feel the trenches for the Bears on both sides of the ball were so bad last year that we just need to see a huge improvement on the trenches.
Yeah, and I saw an article today that they were talking, or it was a post. It was might have been Infante posted it, Ray Drazen, but anywho, how the Bears were gonna what to do with Kieran, and with the rookie being the heir apparent for left tackle, do you move Kieran to left guard? I'm like, well, a couple years under Tooney, he could be a legit left guard. He played left guard. He took a lot of steps at left guard in college. So I'm looking at the left side of the football going, well, okay, there's depth there. We don't necessarily worry about right tackle. Darnell Wright hasn't been injury prone. But now I look at Jonah, and he doesn't have a huge injury history, but last year he's coming off of injuries, right? Last year was the injury year for him, and it was significant. Prior to that, not so much. That's why he got the big contract to go to LA. And then, you look at our new center. I don't think Dahlman's played a full season yet. So I share Broski's concern there. It's like, now Jackson, I could say maybe, you had an injury last year. It's not like he's hurt every year, missing 5, 6, 8 games this season. Okay, fine. But for Dahlman, dude, has he had a season where he hasn't missed at least 4 games?
Yeah, I think he might have played 1 full season. I'm going to double check, but that's it at most. So, that's a lot of money to invest in somebody who hasn't really played more than a season healthy. So we will see how that plays out.
Yeah, let's not get any of these guys hurt during OTAs in camp, right, Woody?
No.
Yeah, 2022 was his only 17-game season where he started every game, played every game. Yeah.
I think something the division has to do as a whole is they need to be more successful in the playoffs to be considered more of a viable threat as a division. All of our teams lost in the playoffs last year. There hasn't been other than Detroit making the NFC Championship game 2 years ago. We really haven't had a good run in the division in the playoffs for a while. So I think the division as a whole is something to prove there. I think with the Bears, with your new offensive lineman, I think something that you guys, I haven't heard you talk a lot about, but I think you need to establish the run. I think you need to get running backs that can run the ball, because a running back or a quarterback's best friend is a good running game because it takes pressure off of them and gets the play action pass started. So I feel like if you can get Swift or whoever you have at running back going, I think that's going to be a thing that's going to make you guys more successful as a team.
Yeah, that's a good call. And the thing is too, like Jared Goff last year in Detroit under Ben Johnson, the top-rated play-action quarterback in the league, took most snaps under center of any quarterback in the league. So that's going to be introduced to Caleb this year. But obviously, you can't run an effective play-action if you can't run the football.
Well, yeah, because they had Sonic the Hedgehog and Punching Bag as their two running backs, right?
Well, like I was saying, everybody wanted to get rid of Swift. All the Bears fans, if you mediocre, you want to get rid of you. But he had, 959 yards last year with a shitty offensive line? With a shitty offensive line, I think that's okay. And people are just throw him under the bus and saying, getting rid of the guy. I was like, well, he picked it up last year with a shitty offensive line. He caught great out of the backfield. And he got us on the board and gets good yardage and stuff like that. If we get him going, then we'll see if he can turn that around.
The problem, and Woody and I have agreed on this. For two guys who have no opinion about anything, we agreed on this.
Fuck it.
And look at Swift has home run hitting speed. He's one of the fastest guys in the league. Actually, the guy, you get him free, he's gone. We saw that happen more than a few times last year. With a bad O-line. And this is the part that we're Broski and Woody and I have kind of played in a little bit of clickbait and asked the what if, Nick Chubb is out there. What if the Bears spent $3 million, bring in Nick Chubb, and let him and Rojo tag team, bashing in the middle while Swift, you have Swift out there for your outside runs where you can seal the edge and let him go. So the running game does need to improve in Chicago. Swift is going to be part of it for sure.
Well, you have a net play calling too. I think by getting rid of your coach and getting rid of whoever you had calling offensive plays. I mean, I was watching that Washington game and I was going, why do they have a backup guard in on a play where they're trying to run in a touchdown? I get the whole Kramer Notre Dame connection there. That was literally one of the 2 or 3 worst plays by any team in the NFL all last year. That was at that game. In the stands, we were all going what the hell? Washington fan and Bears fan alike was going, what the hell were they just doing? Shane Waldron was terrible. And Eberflus, while he designed a great defense, he proved to be not ready to make the big calls. The running game, we didn't use go. You don't even have to go to the Washington game, bro. Go back to the Indianapolis game. We're going to run the exact same running play: first down, second down, third down, fourth down, and not get in the end zone. I mean, the personification of Eberflus being ineffective was seeing Tyreek Stevenson waving to all the fans on the sideline when the play wasn't even over yet. That was the antithesis of what he was.
I mean, they need to use Roshan better. Then Roshan gets a concussion last season, Roshan has never been used the way Bears fans envisioned him being used since they drafted him, and we all thought, wow, we may have gotten a steal here in Roshan, because Roshan got hidden behind Bijan at A&M, right?
Well, didn't you guys have Dante Foreman at one point too? I've always liked Dante Foreman.
I liked him.
Why did they let him go? I like Foreman.
Money.
I think there's a personality issue there.
Yeah, because the last couple games he was out for personal reasons.
Yeah, there was a personality issue with him, and basically he wanted to get a huge paycheck, I think, as part of it, and the Bears said no, and then there was some locker room issues, supposedly. But they let Deontay Foreman walk, and what did Deontay Foreman do last year anywhere? He might have been a guy who was right for Chicago at the time, but nowhere else. But we've got.
I mean, he was pretty
talent.
good with Houston. When I saw him play for Houston, he was pretty effective. So, I mean, I don't know. I think he's an effective player, but
I think overall, I was thinking a lot about this. Bears got to establish their offensive line before they get like a big time Nick Chubb or whatever running back in there, because anybody, if their offensive line doesn't do shit, they're going to get killed.
Well, I think Nick Chubb, though, I think he's past being big time, especially if you're getting for $3 million. You know, he's past prime. He's looking to prove they can do it after an injury. And look, if you're Nick Chubb, you know, I'll do a 1-year deal in Chicago for $3 million to prove it, and you have a good year in Chicago, you're getting paid anywhere else because the stigma that we don't have an offensive line. For Bears fans, if he comes in and does it and elevates this team, you know, now maybe we're a playoff contender. Maybe we make a deep run.
I feel like Chubb's going to end up with the Cowboys, but that's just my opinion.
Do the Cowboys even have $3 million to spend on Chubb, though?
They don't have a running back.
They don't have a running back. Yeah, I feel like Chubb's going to end up there.
He could. Jerry has a tendency of.
It's a perfect Jerry Jones like move. It seems like very antithetical to what Jerry Jones would do.
Well, they were tied to Dobbins as well, but Dobbins has a compensation pick attached to him, so he's going to be a little bit harder to sign.
Yeah, the Cowboys drafted a couple running backs. They drafted that Phil Maffa out of Clemson and that was it Jaden Blue, I think it was.
Texas.
Yeah. So. Yeah,
they'll try to go cheap there, but I mean, Chubb is a Jerry Jones like move, so
it does smell like a Jerry Jones move for sure.
Yeah, I don't know what. Well, I mean, coming out of OTAs, there's not much to grasp from the Bears besides the normal clickbaity kind of, you know, Caleb can't do it. Oh, Caleb is doing it. Oh, they're laying down the law with DJ Moore like we didn't even know he was a problem child. And then Mercedes Lewis said this will be his last year playing in the NFL. Okay, great, but someone has to sign him, and I don't think it's going to be Chicago.
Well, Mercedes Lewis can tell him about all the time he spent with Antonio Gates in rookie camp back 27 years ago whenever he first broke in with the Jaguars. I think Antonio Gates was in his rookie camp.
Yeah, he look at give it to Lewis for hanging out as long as he has, but I think if we didn't draft tight end like we did in the draft, I would say sure. If it was Komet and like the room prior to the draft, I would have been like, okay, fine, bring him in for one more year. Let him, he's got some value. He can still perform. He's one of the best blocking tight ends in the league because he has to be at his age. But after we drafted Loveland, I'm like, it's going to be kind of hard to put Mercedes Lewis in that room.
Let me ask, do you still have Gerald Everett? Is he still on your team?
No, we got rid of him.
Okay.
We got who's the other kid we signed? Another
Smythe.
Notre Dame kid.
Smythe.
Yes, we signed Smythe.
He was out
So
of
we got
Miami.
the two Notre
From
Dame
Tampa?
products.
Miami, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got the two Notre Dame products in Loveland. And that might be as deep as they go. I don't think they this is one of those years where I think maybe 3 tight ends instead of 4. Maybe they take an extra running back receiver with them out of camp.
So I'll ask all you guys as Bears fans, where do you realistically at the end of the year, where do you guys see yourselves finishing in the division?
Do you want me to go full Adam Rank or you want me to be realistic?
Realistically, where do you think you're going to finish in the division? I do not need people talking about how the Bears were great in '86. I need to know what your opinion is of where you think they're going to be this year.
Sure.
I'm saying 8 or 9 wins.
Yeah, I said 9 and 8.
Yeah, I'm going to go more towards 9 to 10. I might go towards that 10th win. The problem is that we've got, for the entire division, we have probably one of the toughest divisions in football play. We're playing the NFC East and we're playing the AFC North. So not an easy schedule at all for any of our teams. I would be happy with 8. I'd be even happier with 10. So instead of going 9 to 10, I'll say 8 to 10. The problem with this league is right now, there are so many games that are going to be, you look at the parity in this division. How many games last year were a last-second field goal or a blocked field goal attempt was the margin of victory, 1.3 point margins of victory?
Well, we almost gave you the one in Detroit because our special teams guy was a moron, and all he had to do was let the ball go, and the game would have been over. But he touched it with his hand, and then you guys got the ball again. He was just an idiot.
But I mean, if you look at the first 3 division games we played last year, In those 3 games against the Packers, the Lions, and the Vikings,
Oh my!
the total margin of victory for those 3 teams over the Bears was 7 points. Between all 3 games, 7 points. That's how close the parity in this league can be. So, what's the difference between 7 wins and 10 wins? Sometimes to play like you just said, it's a guy.
You
touches
gave
the
it away
ball.
against the Packers, though. You should have had that one in Chicago. You should have had.
They had the blocked field goal. They had the blocked,
Yeah.
and then same thing in Detroit. We should have had one of them in Detroit.
I mean, let's not forget that Texans game week 2 was there for them. I mean, they had the ball with 2 minutes left. They could have won the game.
And listen, and we'll go back to the Indianapolis game. How many fucking mistakes did Anthony Richardson make that game? We still blew it.
Yeah. Well, go back to week 2. I mean, the reason they win, when they're 55 yards out, they're not punting. They're kicking field goals. We're 55 yards out. We're punting.
Dude, that was one of the most amazing performances by a kicker in a game I've ever seen.
And nobody said that, our defense week 1 had every point against Tennessee.
Yeah.
I think the whole NFC North kind of benefited, though, from playing the AFC South. That was a terrible division last year.
It was.
You're not kidding.
And this year we played 2 really good divisions. And but the difference of winning 8 games and 10 games can be literally one play, one stroke of luck. You look at the Vikings last really good year under Kirk when you guys won was 11 or 13.
13.
You had 11 one-score games.
Yeah, won. That's not a season, by the way, as a Vikings fan I saw coming either. So that was definitely not something I saw.
But then the following year, some Vikings fans are like, "Oh my God, we're gonna win 12 this year." It's like, dude, you won 11 one-score games. It's hard to replicate that in this league. And
Kirk went down too. Kirk went down in week 6 or 7 against Green Bay, and that totally tanked the season for the Vikings.
Agreed. That changed the season for you guys. But the bigger point there was you can't look at 11 one-score games and replicate winning 11 one-score games.
No, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. I think
that was the argument. Yeah, the fact that Kurt went down, I mean, I agree with you. That changed your season there. But when we were talking to Vikings fans at the time before the season start, we're going to win 12, 13 games. Look, we won all these games last year. It's like, dude, 11 of those were one score. Replicating 11 one-score wins, hard to do.
I was a Vikings fan that wanted to see the Vikings trade Kirk while he was at his maximum value. I wanted them to trade him before the year he got hurt. I wanted to see them trade him for picks. So
it's not like, and that's a problem with this league though. The parity is so close. It's not like any of the teams in the North are blowing each other out, right? They're all really good games, close games, one-score games. Maybe you get a 2-score game because it gets away late or in the fourth quarter time, whatever, But for the most part, one-score games, really tight. We're playing against a lot of really good teams. The difference between 8 wins and 10 wins can be a fluke, kick return where the guy goes to wave it off, the ball takes a funny bounce, hits its calf, and your team recovers. You know what I mean?
I think that's for the Vikings playing the 2 games on the road that are in England and Ireland. I think that's what gives them an advantage because I feel like if they were playing Pittsburgh and Cleveland, that would be a more level playing field against those teams in that division. So I think it's an easier way to split against the AFC North for the season.
You're going to pay right on. You can't pay more than expected.
What was that, Woody?
Towards the
I think he's talking about something else.
They might be talking to Jody there. But like Phillip, throws out there how is Caleb handling criticism from his head coach. Then he follows up with all this NFC North OTA clickbait hype is over the top. And Phillip, you're right. I mean, every quarterback is going to get criticism from their coach. I think Caleb has shown already he can take criticism from coaching, and he can take coaching. I haven't seen anything. And let me expand this out to the entire NFC North. I haven't seen anything out of any of the quarterbacks in the North that says these guys can't take coaching. The only player in the North that I can think of off the top of my head where there's maybe a concern with being able to take coaching is the Lions with J-Mo. Yep. Right? Because J-Mo was he wasn't easy to control. And they had a guy who could do it. And now, of course, he's in Chicago.
Yeah, his personal babysitter left Detroit and is now coaching for the Bears. So, we'll see if he can keep his head on straight this season. Because
Jameson Williams is Brandon Ayuk.
I just want to see how Bieniemy coaches these running backs.
Did you hear the quote from Bieniemy though? Speaking of clickbait, I don't know if this is true, but this is an attributed quote to Bieniemy. He told our seventh round pick he runs like a fucking grandpa.
That's Bieniemy, though. I mean, he was the running backs coach in Minnesota when we had Peterson and Chester Taylor. That's just the way that guy coaches. So you have to be prepared to be in a culture shock in the room when you bring that guy in.
Here you go. No, he said you move like a old fucking man. That's what he told Kyle Monangai at practice. You move like an old fucking man.
Wow.
Well, and he did kind of call out Swift like a month ago too in the media.
Well, speaking of running backs, Colin, that was a big pickup, that Jordan Mason.
I love that move. That was here's the thing that I can't quite understand, and this goes back more to San Francisco. You've got Christian McCaffrey, who's proven that he gets banged up a lot, and then you bring in this Mason who nearly gets you 1,000 yards, and then you trade him for a 6th-round pick to Minnesota. That's their San Francisco loss is our gain. And I think when you have a Mason, and I was not exactly on board with us re-signing Aaron Jones to what we signed him for, but I think if you bring in a Mason who's a legitimate running back and he's more of a power running back, I think that helps when it comes to the thing that the Vikings really struggled with last year was scoring inside the 10-yard line, the 5-yard line. That was their albatross. And I think by them getting Ryan Kelly, Fries, and getting a power back like Mason, I'm not saying it's the end all be all, but I think it's definitely going to make them more of an effective team in the red zone.
Hey, Broski, question for you, because I know Dice, whatever.
Demon Dice. I call him Demon Dice. Yeah, he's a
Demon Dice. There we go. Yeah, I'm butchering. I know. Here's the thing. Oh, you think he's gonna be a knucklehead like AB?
Oh, that's what he meant. Okay,
but you know what? You know what GMO reminds me of, and tell me what you guys think about this one to a certain degree. When you first hear him, wait a second, but then wait. He reminds me of Devin Hester without the kick and punt returns. Devin Hester, great gadget play guy for end arounds, reverses. And we get the occasional deep ball thrown him and he'd make a catch. To me, that's kind of what JMO is. He's great for those little trick plays. He'll burn you for some speed, and you can get a deep ball to him once in a while that he'll catch. But he's Devin Hester without the kick and punt returns, because offensively in the offense, he's about Devin Hester like.
Well, but to be fair, Devin Hester was a corner in college. Right. He wasn't even a wide receiver at Miami. He was a corner. The fair part is
one's a Hall of Famer, one's never going to be a Hall of Famer.
Hester was also
Devin Hester's a Hall of Famer because of the kick and punt return. But JMO he plays like Hester offensively without the kick and punt return. Just straight up if you look at how they play.
I was going to say Hester is also a corner his first year in the NFL. And the guy I always compared Jameson to in my head is kind of just like a not quite as good Deshaun Jackson minus the kick return stuff or punt return stuff. Kind of very Deshaun Jackson-ish, but still hasn't proven he's on that level yet.
Well, speaking of kickoff returns and stuff, I'm interested in seeing how Dunnervay is going to do for Chicago, because he's most likely going to be our kickoff and punt returner.
Yeah, talk about a guy who's been lost in the mix, right?
I mean, he was okay as a wide receiver in Baltimore, so I'm interested in seeing how he'll do with punt and kickoff returns in Chicago.
Well, special teams in this division especially has become key. It's funny because you're right. It's the one thing we don't talk about. We talk about the trenches, and rightfully so, but our special teams, you can't let these guys get returns, and we need returns.
Yep.
And the trick play against the Packers was phenomenal last year. Okay, that
was great. Blackwell.
That was great. But outside of that, I would say the Bears' special teams last year was kind of average.
Well, you say that you talk about Duvernay. I think a guy that the Vikings picked up too that people have forgotten about is Rondale Moore. I think if that guy can come back to even half of what he was with Arizona, I think he could be an interesting chess piece with Minnesota.
But it's not just the actual return guys. Who are going to be. Well, now we don't really have gunners anymore.
It's versatility. You need versatility. Versatility and explosion.
Sanborn was good on
let's face
special
it, that's
teams.
where you used to develop your linebackers and some of your corners, and you would develop some of your defensive players and a couple of offensive players on special teams.
I mean, Adam Thielen was a special teams captain for the Vikings for like 2-3 years, and then all of a sudden, like, hey, let's throw him the ball, and he ends up being a Pro Bowl wide receiver. So
how is this new kickoff that we saw, the dynamic kickoff?
I wish they would quit calling it the dynamic kickoff. That's the stupidest name I've ever heard for anything in the NFL ever. It's the dumbest idea ever.
There's nothing dynamic about it, right?
No.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, how are we trained? Like, okay, great. The high impact hits aren't there anymore. That for player health, great, got it. That's nice. But now you're not developing these guys anymore, like your Adam Thielens or some of these, linebackers and other players that make this roster. But special teams is still so super important, yet it's the one thing we talk about the least.
Yeah, they should call it the Charmin kickoff.
Well, I was wrong last year because with this new kickoff shit, I'm sorry, calling the dynamic kickoff. I thought there'd be more touchdowns. There wasn't a lot.
There's nothing. Yeah, there's nothing now. It's almost like you had Cordero Patterson on your team at one point, and he became. It's almost like you deballed him by having this dynamic kickoff stuff. Like it completely eliminated that portion of the game.
The stats on the dynamic kickoff, and this is why the NFL calls it a success, is because there were more returns in the prior year, as in more teams running the ball out. Well, because if they ran it out or they took the knee, they still ended up on the 30. There was literally
exactly.
No
if you're going to reward them by taking a knee from the 25 and giving the 25 as opposed to, I got this kickoff and I got it to the 20. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, and Ken, I was going to. Oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
While we were on it, like we were kind of talking about linebackers and players kind of in the past used to almost be developed a little bit on special teams and then get integrated into like a starting role. The Bears do have a guy like this who's kind of getting lost in the shuffle here with, all the big names they signed, that Daniel Hardy guy. So, he's like 6'3", 240, 245. He's kind of like a DN, kind of like a linebacker, definitely good on special teams. So, like, he's a guy, it seems like, I'm surprised the Bears haven't addressed DN a little more, but yeah, it seems like they're putting some stock into him and hoping he can develop a little bit,
Donajay was a guy who we developed on special teams. He became the special teams captain. Then he was really good on the Bears defense for a couple years after that. So, I mean,
wasn't Sanborn a special teams guy for you guys?
But he was for the first part of the season until we traded Roquan. Then he took over and he did a spectacular job for taking over for Roquan that year. In fact, I don't even think we saw a defense that we didn't see a fall off in production with Sanborn. I don't know if that's an indictment of Roquan or how good Sanborn was or how bad the Bears defense may have been. I don't know what that's an indictment of, because Sanborn came in halfway at the trade deadline when we traded him, and you didn't miss a beat.
Well, your team has a history of paying big money for linebackers. You can't run from that, and you value the linebacker position heavily. Your team always has. So, and I mean, with Edwards, I mean, you paid a lot of money for him. So it's a position you guys always want a man. But I feel like with the special team stuff and with other ways of, to me, if you're a late round pick, you got to make yourself versatile enough to play any position on the field now, because all these guys have athleticism almost everywhere. So the more athletic you are, the more indispensable you can be. That's how you end up being on the team, and that's how you get the opportunity to be in the game.
Well, I concur with what Broski just told you there, brother. We have a lot of shows. So please stop on by. And yeah, you've got to be versatile. But we don't talk about special teams, and that's the aspect. You look at this division, all the one-score games, that is going to be the key. For Bears-Vikings, Bears-Vikings, how does it get to overtime? Special teams, right? The onside kick.
I don't. Oh my God! Don't even get it.
But you see what I'm saying, though? Special teams, though, how do the Packers win? Special teams block a kick. How do we beat the Packers? Special teams make a kick.
Your game against the Lions was totally on your coach in that game in Detroit. Yeah. You had them beat, and that's totally on Eberflus. Like, I don't know what. You can wash your hands of it, and that's good. And you got to hope that Ben Johnson makes better decisions, but that was, yikes.
Well, like I said, people say we should have won that game. We were down big. we came back. So I don't
You
think
you had an opportunity though. You had a
Right.
chance.
But go back to special teams is that the onside kick. Now you first of all, I didn't like it. You have to announce it. Now, second of all, you can run it whenever you're losing, but you have to announce it. That's just asinine. That's stupid.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, Woody. I think it's stupid. You have to announce it. It really is. But I think you have to announce it, though, because of the other rules of the kick, right? Because remember, if you don't announce it, it touches the ground, it's automatically a flag. If it touches the ground before it goes into the zone, it's a flag. That's why you have to announce it, so it'll flag you right away. I mean, the whole kicking situation is stupid, but special teams are going to play a huge part in the season. And then we bring up the other argument. What do you brought up without even realizing it? Well, we came from so far back. I'm tired of hearing, well, Caleb and the Bears only did as well as they did because all they're in garbage time. Okay, let's stop that right there, because these games, you get opportunities because you take advantage of what's given you. And if you want to make excuses saying, well, the other team gave you opportunity, no, you still create your opportunities. It's the NFL. I mean, the prevent defense just prevents teams from winning. Why they run it, I have no freaking clue. But special teams are going to play a huge part. I'm tired of hearing garbage time arguments. Garbage time is when you're down 43-12 and you throw the backup quarterback in. If the starters are in, it's never garbage time.
Well, I don't understand why teams in general in the NFL, I don't know if they feel this obligation to not completely bury a team when they're not playing well. If you're burying a team, keep burying them so that they have no chance to come back. Yeah. I don't like this. The Vikings were killing Green Bay in Lambeau last year at the first half, and we took our foot off the gas. I hate the comment we took our foot off the gas. It's why are you taking your foot off the gas?
Just like us, Colin, remember when Bears were up 20-0 at halftime, we knocked Aaron Rodgers out. They shot a needle in his knee, probably PEDs or something, and they came back and wiped us off the map in the second half, and we lost.
Beating a team, beat them all the way until the final whistle. It doesn't make any sense why you wouldn't do that.
Yeah, the other thing I don't like about the Bears, when they're up big on teams, like, for example, that game, they go to this fucking prevent defense the whole time. Yep. I'm like, dude, just you got to keep playing
the same defense that got you to the point where you're up 20 points. Why do you play a different defense when you're up big? Play the same defense that you're winning with.
And that's one thing I never understood under Eberflus and his defense for supposedly being a good defensive coordinator. Not only at the end of games, but on third down. Why are the cornerbacks giving the guy 8 to 10 yard cushion if it's third and 6? What the hell is that all about?
Right, slant pass your first down all the time.
How long was Eberflus the coach with you guys? How long was Eberflus the coach with you guys?
3 years.
3 years? Okay. So he wasn't the defensive coordinator that gave up the biggest comeback in NFL history when he was with the Colts against the Vikings, was he?
Ooh, that's a good question.
How many years ago was that game?
I mean, it was O'Connell's first year, so it was either 2 or 3 years ago now.
No, he wasn't.
He
was with Chicago at that point?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was in Chicago. And he did and that's why Dallas is going to be interesting in the East. I wish Rock was still on, because I'd like to see what he would have thought about, the Cowboys defense going against Philly. They're going to be a better defense with Eberflus being their DC than what they were. And for the Bears, look at Allen now. And I'm wanting to see what Allen's defense is going to look like in Chicago. I mean, once again, a team that has talent. I think coaching matters a lot. And Minnesota's been smart. They just gave Kwesi an extension, which I thought was smart. You've got a good head coach and a good coaching staff that remained intact this year. And Green Bay, as much as I hate Green Bay, I got to give them credit. Their head coach puts them in a position to win every week. Yeah. In Detroit, I got question marks because they got the biggest cheerleader. They've got the Flavor Flav of the NFL as a head coach. He's a great rah-rah guy, but he doesn't call plays. He's dependent on a good DC and a good OC. I'm wondering how they're going to do. And then I'm wondering what's going to look like here in Chicago.
And by flavor, you're not talking about the butter that spurts out of his mouth every time he smiles.
But does he have a big clock around his neck?
Clock. Yeah, you need to have a big flock.
I mean, realistically, if Green Bay were to actually go in on the fact that their most effective weapon as a team is running the ball and doing short passes. I mean, you get Josh Jacobs to do what he did last year. You got a good offensive line, and your most effective receiver is Tucker Kraft. Like, that's fine. If you're effective doing that, then do it. Like, I don't understand why you need to change something when you're good at doing something.
And look at they got lucky last year. They got a great DC up there. Look how that DC changed their defense last year.
Their defense before that coordinator before was god awful. So I mean, they needed anything was an upgrade from what they had.
The one they get though, he's a good college coach, and he says, "Well, this NIL money is ruining. I might also go to the NFL." He probably could have gotten a head coaching job somewhere in the NFL, but for his first splash, he goes and becomes a DC for Green Bay, and he makes that defense look really good. They finished, I believe, top 5 last year. So I think overall we got good coaches. It's going to be interesting to see where the Bears go, because I'm interested to see what coaching changes are going to do. I don't think we'll see an immediate turnaround. We'll see some immediate effects week 1, 2, 3, 4 because of play calling. We'll see that right away. We'll see how the team looks different. As far as results, I'm not expecting it out the gate. I'm expecting it to take till after the bye week till we really start to see it. Not to say that week 1, week 2, we can't eke out wins during preseason games 4, 5, and 6, because that's basically what the first 3 weeks of the regular season are. And we can beat Minnesota on Monday night because it's going to be a sloppy game.
Pump the brakes there a little bit. Slow down there. Hold on.
But it's going to be a sloppy game. I mean, the week 1, you get teams that shouldn't beat other teams that win all the time in week 1. Look at the Lions beating Kansas City a couple of years ago. It's week 1. JJ's first game. Neither team's going to be completely ready because they don't play enough snaps in the preseason. Week 2 is going to be the same thing. When you guys go to Green Bay, anyone could win that game. When we go to Detroit, anyone can win that game. It's
the key for the Bears to me is finding out what Caleb Williams is effective at doing with the pieces that he has. Like if you can get him to be effective with, and it doesn't really matter what it is. Like if he can get effective with stepping up in the pocket and facilitating a good running game, having a good short game, that's what'll open it up for the long game. Like just be effective at something and stick with it.
And I'll tell you what, for me, it's gonna take some time for the offense to gel and get things going in the right direction. But defensively for the Bears, I want to see a huge upgrade week 1. I want to see their defense. I want to see a new defense out there that's mean and fast and flying around and smacking people and creating turnovers from the jump.
Well, I do want to say good luck after week 1, because once you get past that game, then you can start smacking people around. So,
nice.
I mean, it looks like we have upgrades in the interior in that line for sure. The Bears think they're good on edge, which is something Woody probably has more qualms with than not, because we think maybe we need depth. They think no, we want more depth in the interior. But week 1, I think we'll see the impact. Whether or not we feel the difference in week 1, 2, and 3, I don't know. But I think as fans who watch the game a lot, we'll all see the impact of the changes in Chicago, and that may translate to some early wins. Because the first couple weeks is also still kind of training campish. Because these guys don't get enough snaps in the preseason. They
need to play people more in the preseason. I know it's going to be a shorter preseason, especially if you have a new coach, especially if you new pieces. You need to play those guys a little bit more. You can't be afraid to play them.
You can't. You can't be. And that same goes for JJ. He needs to get a good amount of snaps in the preseason. Same goes.
That's why I love the fact the whole team is at OTAs. The entire team is there. I mean, I know that doesn't seem like much, but I think developing that chemistry is huge.
That's huge. That's team building. OTAs. I mean, it's just being there, being a part of the team is a big piece, right? Starting to form those bonds, and some teams don't get that because players don't show up for camp or for OTAs because they're not managed.
Well, the coaches don't want them to at some points too, so the coaches have got to embrace them playing more.
But hey, we're getting close to time. Thanks for everyone for joining us. Thanks to our special guest who hopped on today. I didn't know you guys were coming. So you showed up.
Ooh,
there
nice
we go.
hair. Wow,
Thanks to the
that's
Rock
nice.
who left a little
Yeah,
bit earlier. Thanks to-
I got to do that Clairol stuff going on right now. Here I go.
There you go. Thanks to everyone in the comments. Hope everyone has a great Sunday. It'll be great when one day soon we're ending the show to go live in the football games. Don't forget Ken and Ken in the morning, every morning at 10 a.m. Central. We'll be back here for Halas Hall Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central. As we go through more OTAs, more rumors, maybe hopefully some free agent signings, and we'll see what happens throughout this week with the post June 1st cuts. Everyone enjoy your Sunday. Have a great day. Bear down.
Bear down.
Fair enough.